Welcome to One on One. I'm Greg Bassey, your host from the Salisbury Independent newspaper. We have one of my favorite people in the community today, Cindy Feist from Women Supporting Women. Welcome, Cindy.
Thank you so much for having me.
Your group, which unbelievably is in its 25th year now,
Yes.
is, I get emotional when I think about the real good that you guys do. So let's talk about the good stuff that Women Supporting Women does.
Okay. 25th year, let's start from the beginning. 1993 is when we started, and actually started because a woman got diagnosed with breast cancer and didn't know where to turn. She had questions.
Back then, we didn't talk about breast cancer. And the whole idea of breast cancer awareness, like cynical people go, I think we're aware by now. But back then, there was no awareness.
Correct.
Yes.
Right. So she had gone to Sue Revel, who is an RN and worked at PRMC at the time.
And she's like the Mother Teresa now of Women
I'll
Supporting
let
Women.
her know you said
Okay.
that. And yes, she was one of the co-founders, but they actually went to her and asked about, had questions about chemo, radiation, where do you turn, are there support groups? So Sue went looking and found that there wasn't anything available, and that's where it all started. So Sue got together with two of her friends, Harriet Fine and Carol Prager, and decided to form Women Supporting Women. And here we are 25 years later.
And it really is a support group.
Well, it's a lot more than a support group. We have lending chair programs if somebody's having bilateral mastectomies, so they can take it home and actually having a place to lay down in the evening where they don't have to get into a bed and try to get back up. We have wigs and prosthesis, caps, hats, support groups. We have about 5 different locations. We're in 5 different counties for people to come at all different locations and times.
I have a friend who went through it 15 years ago now. And she, to this day, says that without Women Supporting Women, she never would have made it. I mean, do you hear stories like that all the time?
We do. We do. And I think it's just people come into the door and they don't know what to expect. When they walk in, we have pink furniture and everything's bright and cheery. So we try to make it a whole lot easier on them. We don't need them to be upset about their bills and their finances and the radiation or things they're going through. We want them to come in and feel comfortable with us, be able to ask the questions that they need to ask, and be comfortable and know their journey's going to have an end, and hopefully a good end for them.
So what is the process? So, I have a lump, I go see Dr. David Walker or somebody, I get the x-ray. How do you all get involved? When do you come in?
We actually have a signature pink bag that's given out. So if you go into a surgeon's office after you've had your mammogram done and it says that you have breast cancer, the oncologist or radiologist has looked at it and said you have cancer, the doctor will let you know that, and at that point in time at their offices, they will give out our pink bag. What's in those pink bags is a letter that allows us to contact those women that have been handed the pink bag. In it are 2 different books in particular. One is a book for them that goes through their entire diagnosis, whether it's sex after chemotherapy, whether to have a lumpectomy, a mastectomy, what's going to happen with chemotherapy, radiation. So it explains step by step, and we've had some people that can't even look at the bag after they've been diagnosed. It takes them a while. And then there are others that open it up, read it cover to cover. On top of that, there is also a bag in there for the caregiver, whether that be a spouse or a sibling, to help them figure out what the survivor is going to be going through.
Right. Now, the hospital now has the Breast Cancer Center there on Snow Hill Road.
Yes.
That was a tremendous step forward for the community.
Oh, absolutely. And actually, we have our pink bags at that location as well.
Right. And the hospital has some of its own programs, but you guys work with them, or?
Yes, we actually have gotten down to the Ocean Pines location, and we have a knitting group that's available down there, and also a support group that we put in place.
What are the goals of the organization when you all set it up? I mean, Are you achieving your goals, or do those things sort of evolve?
Well, I think we're achieving them. The mission of the organization was to provide awareness, education, and support to anybody that's been affected by breast cancer. And that means men or women, because nowadays we're also finding there are men that have been diagnosed with breast cancer.
Yes. Yeah, that's quite an issue. And that's one of those things I was not aware of. I think Women Supporting Women and the breast cancer tab that we've done at the paper, we had some stories about that one year, and it got my attention.
Yes, men do still need to check themselves as well.
What's it do to a woman's self-esteem?
Think about it two ways. One, you're looking at possibly having your breast taken off, and that would be a man as well. Going through chemo, you're then taking away your hair. So everything about what you look like that makes you feminine is going away. And that's why we're there with the wigs and figuring out your makeup, how to make you feel better all over again once this process is through.
Yeah, I worked with a woman who she had been through it, and she felt like she didn't look pretty anymore. And one of the solutions was to put on too much perfume when she came to work.
Oh, no.
And that became an issue with the people who sat around her, and they were just so intolerant of what she was going through, and it made me crazy because they just couldn't see beyond their own needs to try to identify with what she was going through.
Well, the other question is, did the people around her know what she was going through?
I think they did, yeah.
Because sometimes people don't want to share that information. And it depends on your personality, whether you want those people to know and let them help you along your journey, or whether you want to keep it in and be personal. It's just a personal preference to you.
I know the support networks are so important within the family. So one of the things I was trained on as a new parent was that if my wife was not able to nurse, it was because I had failed to give her a support network. And men are awful, as you know. So is there some way to get to the men so that they can be the right kind of support network for their wives while they're going through this? Is there an element of that, or?
We actually have a lot of the husbands that come in to help pick out the wigs for the women, and at times it doesn't get comical, but it's kind of funny because we ask them, your wife was originally brown hair, but we have some red wigs in here if you want to change up a little bit. And, conversation will start from there as to what he wants down the road. So
it can be light, and
yes,
it doesn't have to all be
doom and gloom. No,
Yeah.
That's not why we're here.
Do you have a favorite story of your own, of someone that kind of went through the system and was helped by it?
I have a lot of women, story-wise, that it's a miracle that they've made it through, and they come back and they help us and volunteer. But my personal experience, I've had a grandmother that has had breast cancer. My sister had a scare with breast cancer. And I don't know whether it's fortunate or unfortunate that after I took this position a year later, I had a scare with it. And my first thought was, am I supposed to go through this journey so that I can show others what it's about? And in that perspective, it was more of, I could turn to a survivor and say, I need help. As the director of this organization,
Wow.
You made it through. You need to show me how to do that. So in my head, when I was on the line of being diagnosed, which thank God I was not, I knew I could turn to my survivors. And what other nonprofit could say, I can turn around to my clientele or whatever and say, I need your help.
Right.
So
A couple years ago, we had a profile in October, which is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, right? Of a school secretary, office manager at the school in Mardella. And just an amazing photo that we were able to take where she came back to visit the school after the chemotherapy, and she looked pretty rough. But she was putting it out there, and she was sharing her journey with everybody. And no one could be around her for even a minute without breaking into tears because she was so inspiring, and she was so aggressive about it. There was no woe is me at all about it. Is that important? Is it important to have that positive attitude and to
Oh.
share with others like that?
Absolutely. There was also a teacher down in Fruitland that the whole school came
I
together.
remember that as well.
Yeah,
Yes.
and they
Yeah.
dyed their hair pink. Everybody was in pink. It
Yeah.
was awesome. I mean, they raised funds for us, but for her morale and to get it make through, it was phenomenal.
Now, I'm sure, like most nonprofits, you all have plenty of money. You don't need any help from anybody.
Okay, my biggest wish, dreams. The way we do funding for our organization, just to let you know, all the funds that come in, whether it be through grants, events, our major sponsors, and individual contributions. I mean, that's major for us, is the individual contributions. And I just want to make sure that everybody's aware, when we see breast cancer awareness in October and that pink ribbon comes out,
Right.
you need to, whether it's our nonprofit or any other nonprofit that you're going to give to, make sure that you check into the background, because they may say that the money stays local, but that's not a guarantee.
Right.
So just know that with Women Supporting Women, all the money that we bring in actually stays right here locally. We go from beach to bay and the bottom of Delaware to the top of Virginia. So actually 16% of what we bring in is for overhead. Everything else goes back out into the community.
Right. It's a bare bones operation. It's obvious, and it's also obvious that you guys do it because you love it and you care. You're not
Yes.
you're not trying to profit off of it anyway.
No.
Yeah. You got an event coming up where you want to raise some money?
We have a lot of events coming up, with it being the 25th anniversary. The end of the month, we're actually having a ribbon cutting for a new surprise happening, and also an open house. So if anybody has not seen our location, we welcome them to come on through. And then
You're over there off of Route 50?
yes,
Okay.
it's 1320 Belmont Avenue, and we're
Right,
in
in that
Suite
little
402.
office complex there. Yeah.
Right next to the Community Foundation.
Right.
And then also at the end of the year, October, of course, is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. That at the end of the year, on November the 2nd, we're going to be doing our 25th anniversary gala that will be held out at the Hyatt.
Wow, at the Hyatt.
At the Hyatt. We're going big or go
I was going
home.
to say, you might get me out there for that one.
Love to see you.
Wow. So what day of the week is that?
That will be a Friday night.
Friday night at the Hyatt. Wow.
Yes.
How big event is it?
Well, we're hoping at least 200 people show up. We've got 2 different kinds of fundraisers going. A silent auction that will be some smaller items, maybe like some fishing charters and such. And then we have a company called AmFund that's actually coming in that will be doing at least 8 trips in the country and out of the country that are going to be available.
Wow, I better start saving money.
Darn right.
So everyone in the community knows you and they know Sue, but there's some changes going on with Sue retiring.
Yes. I came into the position 2 years ago as the executive director, and at that point in time, Sue continued on as the mentoring coordinator. So June the 1st, Sue has decided that she is completely retiring from WSW, and we wish her well.
And we'll see about that, but go ahead.
She's awesome. She's finding she needs some more time for herself, which is a great thing. But she is going to be coming in every now and again to volunteer. We do need her for some of our events, which is awesome. But now I have some new staff, as you said, and Sarah Edsel is going to be coming in as my mentoring coordinator and taking that piece as well.
It seems like there's been so much progress in the 25 years when you think back about how people were so unknowledgeable and didn't get it, and now so many people get it, and there's so many ways they express how they get it, and the support seems really good. What's the future for the organization?
We are still all about the awareness, education, and support. You'd be surprised when we go out to health fairs that people still don't understand that Women Supporting Women's there to help them, and that we're the only local grassroots organization in town. And we're reaching out to different communities. So the different counties that we're in, Wicomico, Worcester, Dorchester, Somerset, we're trying to do what's called Healing with the Arts. So it is yoga and mosaics and painting, poetry, journaling, different things to actually let them become creative and get out their concerns
It's
And
important to expand the mind. It really
Correct.
is. Yeah.
Right. But on top of that as well, which was really exciting this spring, we did a Your Healthiest You conference, which is what in the next years to come I want to focus on, because we don't want to catch people when they've been diagnosed and help them. We still want to help them through their journey, but what we want to do is get them healthier so that this disease, if we can help at all, isn't as major as what it is now, with being 1 in 8 being diagnosed. So
Do you all preach prevention too, or is that part of what you do? I mean,
Absolutely.
encouraging mammograms or.
that, and also with the Healthiest You that we're talking about, it's eating right. It's trying to eat clean foods and how to cook more than going out to the restaurants or fast food restaurants, and just making yourself a little bit healthier.
On the Lower Shore, we have higher than national averages for cancer, for diabetes, for heart disease. The cancer explanation has been the water table not being real good. We're not drinking great water, skin cancer, things like that. Is it the same with breast cancer? Do we have a higher, do you know, a higher?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. Unfortunately, we do. And there is no real way to say what's the cause. Some people say it's genetics. Well, that's not proven that genetically you're going to get it.
Right.
There may be somebody in their family that has them and you may be predisposed to it, but there are others that we've had come in that there's no sign of breast cancer in the family. The other thing too is that we're being told when you get your mammograms, you don't need to have them until you're 50. Unfortunately, in our case, we have seen people or women as young as 22 coming in that have been diagnosed with breast cancer. If you don't do a monthly check on yourself, men included, you're going to miss that and get a diagnosis higher, possibly a stage 4. You need to understand your own body and to be aware of that before you even have a mammogram.
25 years, which is still hard to believe. 25 years, you must have consistent supporters that you are proud to have.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Our major sponsors over the years have been Apple Drug, Kitty's Flowers, Spicer Brothers has been amazing.
Yeah.
Brian has done wonders for us. Josh Nordstrom, who was with Midway,
Right.
Every year had done our Midway walk. So
Right, and they did an event down there. Yeah, I
yes,
remember that. Right. Yeah.
every October he
Yeah.
usually did the Midway walk for us. Who else do we have here? We have PRMC, we have Peninsula Imaging, Peninsula Plastic Surgery. And over the years, I can't count how many more sponsors that we've had, major sponsors that have kept us going. And on top of grants, and as I said, our individual donors, it's amazing.
When you read your list, your individual donor list, it's the who's who of the community.
It is.
I mean, you really have
It is.
everyone's attention.
And also, we've had people that have just come in our doors and handed us $1
Yeah.
or $5. And, it all adds up.
Yeah, the broadness of the support. It's funny with a lot of those nonprofits, when you look at them, sometimes it will be political, but you have everybody.
I do. I do, and that's awesome.
What's the fall event that you all have at Winter Place?
That is our Walk for Awareness.
Okay.
And we're doing that again this year. We haven't been working on that so much right now. Right now we're working on our Ride for Awareness that'll be happening on July the 14th.
Oh, did we talk about that? We haven't talked about that yet.
We didn't talk
Okay,
about that.
tell me about that, July 14th.
July 14th at the American Legion out on Route 50.
Right.
And this year, we normally do this every year, but we've added some special things this year. So you could actually go and do one of our games called the Roadkill game.
I'm not sure I know about that.
We have a sponsor for one of our stops, which is
Do you go out and count roadkill, or
Well,
do you
no, we've got some
engage in
little-
roadkill, or?
We have some little stuffed wolves that will be
Okay,
involved.
okay.
So we're going to have that. We're going to have, what else is going on? We've got a giant-sized Jenga that's going to be available. We'll have cornhole available. We'll have a slow ride that's going to be timed. So, yeah, some
So
new
July
things.
14th is a Saturday,
Yes,
and it's where again?
at American Legion on Route 50.
Post 64, just west of Salisbury. That's a perfect place, too.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So the thing in the fall is the walk, and you get tremendous turnout for that thing.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
those are people who have been through it.
Yes.
And they're banding together and sharing stories and
It depends. It could be a family that comes out and they dress in a theme. Everybody, of course, wears pink. The dogs get dyed pink, which does not hurt them. But
well, it hurts them emotionally.
Right, right. But yeah, everybody comes dressed. They come with balloons. They come with boas. They have hats. You name it, they decorate. Face painting, tutus.
And my memory is with a lot of those fall events, like every other year, there's a weather problem, but you guys always seem to have good weather.
Oh, you have just jinxed me. But thank you for that.
No, it's like you're on the right side of something.
I hope so.
So we're going to be talking to Sarah Edsel.
Yes. She's coming in again as the mentoring coordinator for Women Supporting Women. And I'm looking forward to what she's going to be bringing to the table for the next several years.
Cindy, thanks for being here today. We so admire what you do in the community, and thanks for everything you do.
Thank you for having me again.
Thanks. Joining us now is Sarah Edsel. She is the mentoring coordinator at Women Supporting Women. Sarah, what is a mentoring coordinator?
So I get a referral from the doctor's office that has the survivor's name, and I can contact them. I give them about a week to really digest exactly what they've just been told, which is a lot. And I'll call them and get to know them as a person and ask them a little bit about their diagnosis as much as they know specifically. And I will follow them through their journey. I ask them as long as it's okay with them, because I know they have a bunch of other people that are in their ears and going about exactly what they should be doing. But yeah, so I see exactly when their doctor's appointments are. I call them beforehand, make sure they're okay, relax, and if they have any questions, I help them through that. And with the chemo and radiation and seeing exactly what else they want to do with their diagnosis and just help them.
I would think if it was me that I would be kind of guarded, that I wouldn't want to go into private stuff with someone who I don't really know.
Yeah.
How do you break that wall?
Well, I really let them know that Women Supporting Women is a grassroots, and we give free resources to everybody, and the money that we get from grants really stays right here in this community, and we need to have information about everybody to really get the resources out for them so that they will always have it for the next person that comes through. And a lot of people are very guarded with today's world, and I really just try to let them know that we're here for you specifically, not just because you're a breast cancer survivor. We look at them as an individual and really make them feel very supported, and really it's just being supported through their diagnosis.
Right. Now you're filling some big shoes. Sue Revel was in your position most recently. She's a legend in the community in terms of the number of people that she's helped. Is she mentoring you?
Yes. So she has been retiring, and she comes in a few days a week and really gives me background information on exactly what she has done, and really just on breast cancer itself, just really filling in the terminology and the medication, the resources for it, and I'm just still in the process. It's a lot of stuff to learn about
Right.
breast cancer. You don't realize it.
One of the things Women Supporting Women is famous for are the pink bags. They seem to make a difference in everyone. It's like the symbol of the organization in many ways. What's in the pink bags?
So many things. There's a lot of resources. So first, we have the handbook for the survivor. So it covers all topics of breast cancer. And if they have any questions or need help through anything, they can look through there, of course. And then there's a caregiver folder so that they can give that to their spouse or family member or whoever is really helping them through it, so they can learn exactly how to talk with the woman that has gotten the breast cancer, to really just help them through it too, because it is tough on the other person that's helping them, because they don't know exactly how to help them. And there's other little goodies. A church donates a little bag that has water, snacks, like puzzles, just to help them through like their doctor's appointments, because they will have a lot of stuff and time on their hands waiting for things, and just resources. There's brochures and what the community offers to them, so they have those little pieces of information to know exactly what's around here for them.
And they can look at it on their own schedule, and and that's really nice.
And I always tell them at first, because they're very overwhelmed, specifically because there is so many things in this bag, but it's all very helpful for them. So we first ask them to look through the handbook, and then as time goes on and they have time to look through it, they can, of course, go through everything else when they need to.
When you all are first bonding, what's the first question that people ask?
They usually want to know exactly about their breast cancer, and there are so many different types. Of course, you have your stage 1 through 4, but each one is so specific that they really just want to know about it and exactly like the resources that Women Supporting Women offers to them. They want to know what we can offer them in ways of bras, so if they have a mastectomy, we can give them a prosthesis for that, or the wigs, and really just resources. They just want to know exactly about their breast cancer.
Yeah, I remember when in hospice, when my father was dying, the first person in your role that I met, I wanted to know how long he was going to live.
Yeah.
And she's like, that's
Yes,
what doctors are for.
Exactly.
I'm going to help you get through this process. I can't diagnose your dad.
Exactly.
But I was just confused by that.
Yeah,
I
so
wanted someone to tell me what was going to happen.
Yeah, but we just really, they need someone to talk to. They need someone else beyond the barriers that know a little bit more about breast cancer. So I'm really there to listen to any of their questions, really just giving them the information about their diagnosis and what resources around us can help them through it, because a lot of them need help with the billing and transportation and just the good doctor's offices around here, places they can go for treatments, and really just an ear to listen to, because
Right.
they need someone to talk to.
And I know privacy is important. It's not like after you meet with them, you're going to go on Facebook and say,
Yeah, oh,
I just
yeah.
had a great client.
Yes. No, we keep
But there's
them
some
very
people
private.
who want to be
Yes.
on Facebook. I mean, I guess you might have to measure that.
Yes, we do have a support group. I think it's on Women Supporting Women on Facebook. It's called Boobs, Sweat, and Tears. So on there, the women survivors go into the group and they can ask questions. We all kind of keep it all together, and I give them words of support and let them know the events. But sometimes if they want to put out there, I can do that as well. But most of the time the people are very private, which I respect.
So social networking is important.
So we have the Boobs, Sweat, and Tears. That's a group, and the women, they can interact with each other. It's another place for just learning more, so the women can interact with each other specifically at one place, and that gives them the area, and then I can come in if they need be to just help with any questions that they need. And some people don't even have to interact. They can just read along the lines, that if they're that private, they don't want their information out there, they're able to do that.
And what people don't know is all this is free, what
Yes.
Women Supporting Women
And
does.
that is the big draw, because people don't realize it. They
Yeah.
come in there and they say, well, I need a bra for post-op, or now they've had a mastectomy, they need a bra that fits them, with a prosthesis. And they ask, okay, well, now what do I owe you? And I said, no, it's free. You're able to take these. And everyone is always shocked. They're like, seriously? And I'm like, yes, you can take it with you.
We're
And
women supporting
yes,
women.
we have free resources along with the wigs.
Yeah.
They can come in and get a couple, and it's all free. Everyone is usually really surprised by it. They don't realize it. So everything we have is all free, and you can go to womensupportingwomen.org or call us at 410-548-7880.
And you guys are over there in the Belmont Shopping Center.
Yes, right across from the Twilley Center.
Not a
off of
shopping
50.
center. It's like an office park.
Yes,
Right.
and we have the 2 pink trash cans that people usually know where we're at.
And once again, this is a really local group. This is not a national group at all.
No, so we're all in the community. We don't associate with much others, so that's why it's a grassroots. Women Supporting Women keeps everything in the community. Nothing goes out beyond that. And that's what people love too, because they like knowing it, that it stays within the area.
Local services
Local services and local support.
and no national
No.
affiliations.
No, none.
Sarah, thanks for being here today. What you guys do is just tremendous, and we're so lucky to have you in the community. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
I'm Greg Bassett from the Salisbury Independent Newspaper, another edition of 101 right here on PAC 14.
First Shore Federal is proud to support PAC 14 and one-on-one. We'd encourage every business to support PAC 14 and pick a program and support it, and let's make a difference.